It's a yes bank maximum, the first of this contest. Oh, that is brilliant. It's a hero maximum. On the ground, down the ground, another hero maximum.
Righto, welcome back to the Maximum Cricket Podcast, episode number 45. My name is Munter and I'm joined by Lugsy and a very potentially hungover Jacko, which we will touch on very shortly. We have a big show for you guys today. We are previewing the IPL, which starts this week, reviewing the women's version, which finished with Melie Kerr's Mumbai Indians becoming the first winners. We are talking New Zealand Cricket Awards and a snack draft of spreads. But first, Jacko, you have the floor. Run us through your massive circuit and the occasion that led to said circuit.
Yeah, so sort of something 33 years in the making, which is number
30,
just
33.
Yeah, 33. Just fitting to sort of finally break it on that. But Burnside had a bit of trouble sort of getting the monkey off the back with the old Red Bull comp up here in Christchurch. I think 1990-91 season was the last time we sort of won the comp. So the boys were in a good position going into the last day. We needed an outright win or a loss and results to go our way. We sort of at tea, we needed 8 wickets to win. Sort of an hour after tea. Yeah, but of work to do at tea. And then, sort of found out the result hadn't gone our way, the other result. So knew we had to win. The boys sort of mucked in and, got it done with, I think, what must have been about 23 balls to spare or something in the day. So
what a day.
Yeah, real nail biter.
Talk us through these polls just quickly, like couple fall in a row or...
I think we were on a hat-trick 3 times. So we're talking like bang, bang, and then a big gap, and then bang, bang, and then a big gap, and then bang, bang.
Did you offer the other team a keg or something if they sort of roll over?
We thankfully didn't sort of have to sort of send that proposal out. But no, so the boys, just as the sort of day was fading and all the other games had finished, so there was probably, I'm going to say 100 people sort of floating around. The balcony was packed at the club rooms, just sort of begging us on. And the boys got it done, sort of last wicket taken and, cue a blackout basically. But nah, not that bad. But boys got into their work Saturday, Sunday. So winner's piss, the best piss.
There is nothing better than a night out after like winning something.
Nah. And there's some great spots in cricket too. I mean, you have you go out and you have your beer on the block where you won it, which is just in terms of we're ranking beers, that one when you're just sitting out there like pitch black with your mates, you've used your iPhones to find the wicket, and all sort of 12, 13, 14 of us were just out there in a circle just chatting shit and having a beer, sort of right up there in cricketing memories for me. So massive result for the boys.
I could be back for playing cricket next year. Solely for that reason. That's unbelievable.
That makes it all worth it, eh? All the ducks, all the bad days, all the days in the dirt. It's all worth it for that circuit.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Jacko, when we won the knockout final in Dunedin, and obviously I was flatting with Lugsy, who was playing for a different team, and we went to kick-ons back at the flat, and Lugsy's all kitted up in kite cricket.
Yeah. There's nothing like jumping on a bandwagon, is it?
I was going to say, I tell you what was only the one benefit of playing out of the Tyree and us not winning a lot was nearly every time we won, it was the circuit. It was absolute scenes everywhere. Boys, out to the pitch we go. We've got to win here.
You might be onto something there.
When those wins don't come around too often, you got to celebrate them all.
100%.
And Lugsy, how are you, mate? You wanted to talk about a certain topic to kick off the show.
Just obviously doing the rounds a bit in New Zealand at the moment. A guy getting done for doping, and as with a lot of things that happen, I sort of think, I wonder if this is happening in cricket at all. And obviously, I think the initial reaction is probably a cricket wouldn't be a sport necessarily so affected by it. Because I think when a lot of people still think steroids, they think of big, bulky bastards, jacked up to the gills. But the more I thought about it, I thought especially with bowling and bowling loads, I think one of the biggest benefits of like EPL, etc., is how quickly it can make you heal and make you recover. And I was just thinking, for fast bowlers who are trying to bowl bigger loads and trying to recover quicker, I feel like the more I thought about it, the more I thought it probably is involved in the game at some level. I think the money's getting big enough with IPL, etc., that it's so rampant, it seems, in a lot of other sports. So just a general sort of wondering where everyone's at, if they think it would be involved at all or not at all. Or
it's more likely with the more franchise cricket.
Yeah.
I was thinking just with, like you said, that the more cricket, and also once you're a franchise player and you go league to league, you're not really protected by your like country in terms of like injury preparation, things like that. So if insurance and all that sort of carry on. So if you're injured, if you're out for a certain amount of time, you can't get that money back. So you could imagine the temptation when you need that money, you need to perform, you can't miss the IPL because you need that money. I could see it creeping in at some stage, and like things like power hitting and getting a bit of extra power potentially.
Yeah, especially I mean, with these leagues, these 6-week leagues, I mean, how often do you think some of these guys are getting tested? I doubt it's the highest sophistication of testing in some of these leagues around the world. But the money, as I say, is getting big enough. So, I mean, there's some people that just think it's like rampant across the board, all sports at this stage. Like it's just that advanced now. So I'd be surprised if it's not already being sort of done, at least to a little low percentage in cricket.
I don't know. I think cricket's one of the few games where I think it could come in terms of you getting back on the park. But I just don't know if cricket as a sport is like achieving much more from a physical perspective. Like we've seen how like people can bowl as fast as they can bowl. Like cricket's a game of applying a skill, not like being faster or stronger or fitter necessarily. Like there isn't actually always a direct correspondence with like being fitter and stronger to being a better cricketer. So I think that's probably where cricket's a little bit safeguarded in terms of like guys aren't actually going to be searching for that extra edge isn't necessarily I need to be fitter and stronger. It's I need to actually be better. And I think that just comes down to practice and a mental sort of skill set versus that real like, oh fuck, I've got to bench a bit more, or I've got to run a bit quicker. I think it's more like cricket's the game where like your mental application and your skill set is what gets you your money. So yeah, I don't know if from a physical standpoint it will creep in, but yeah, as you said, maybe that rehab point it could creep in one day, especially when there's more money and sort of less governance over these sort of guys.
Yeah, because I was just guys sort of that came to mind, not by any means to say they're doing it or anything. This isn't accused, but bowler types. I mean, is just like someone like a Wagner type who wants to bowl real long spells and he wants to do it day in day out of a test. I feel like that's the sort of guy that like that's who it would sort of appeal to. That sort of bowler, but extra to be able to bowl huge loads and recover quick. Now, just to be clear, Neil Wagner not on steroids.
Yeah, don't want to out there. I'll clip that up for socials. It's just straight up. So let's move on to the IPL then. Did you want anything else to touch on that, Lugsy? Or
everybody's on steroids.
LeBron James coming back from a ridiculous injury out of nowhere. Honestly, that's going to come out at some point, isn't it? Anyways, so IPL starting this week, boys. The opening game is the defending champions Gujarat Titans versus the Chennai Super Kings on the 31st of March, local time, 1st of April, New Zealand. And this is obviously an extended version of the IPL, with the final being May 28th, so 2 months. So there's 10 Indian franchises who can play up to 4 international players at a time. It's the number one T20 league in the world, and it's fast becoming the pinnacle of all cricket, let alone franchise cricket. Boys, obviously tough for the Kiwis to get invested in the IPL due to the time difference, but this is the 16th edition of the IPL. How much has the game changed since McCullum hit 158 in the opening game in 2008?
Yeah, well, massively. I think like players like him are the sort of the norm now, aren't they, in this competition? And I mean, like even just off the top of my head, you think of sort of the hired guns that'll be at this tournament that are just have that skill set and that potential. And I think when it sort of started, McCullum was sort of one of a few guys that could actually produce that knock, and sort of the perfect storm being the opening game and everything. But now you're almost just sort of waiting for that to happen in these sort of games. So yeah, guys' ability to hit 360 and hit 360 with power. I think we've seen it with Sky, not obviously against Aussie in one days, but yeah, if Mitchell Stark's not playing, guys' ability to just hit the ball anywhere, and anywhere with power has just come leaps and bounds as these games are sort of trying to get aimed at more and more entertaining cricket. It's phenomenal to see how far batting sort of come as these formats get pushed more and more.
Yeah, first thing is that's absolutely scary that's 16 years ago since BMAC played that knock.
Yeah, it does not feel like that.
I still remember, I didn't obviously watch that game live, but yeah, waking up in the morning and hearing it. But basically that sort of, they couldn't have asked for a better start to that sort of kickstart that whole IPL that it is. Just got global headlines. We will always say, I guess McCullum's 300 is the greatest thing he's done, but in terms of his career, for his bank pocket, that's probably the most important innings he's ever played. But yeah, it's probably the second biggest change in cricket from when they went from introducing ODI cricket at IPL. It really just gave sort of T20 cricket a bit more of a serious stance. So it went from, obviously when it first started, T20's a bit of a hit and piss around. And when the IPL got introduced, it basically changed it, not only from how we play cricket, but just like the way guys think about cricket as more of a business. And there, obviously, it's just completely changed guys' skill set. And obviously, as we say, like being that it's been 16 years, it's a whole generation now that's grown up on it. So, it's probably one of the 2 or 3 most important changes in cricket, the IPL. Yeah,
it's crazy. It's been 16 years, and it was also like Virat Kohli was in that game, a very young Virat Kohli, like pre-India. So he's played in every edition of the IPL, which is quite something when you think about it.
That's something for his bank account, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, I remember. Yeah, I actually watched that game live. I remember it was school holidays. Back in the day when it's school holidays, you're not sleeping. You're staying up till bloody 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
You sleep until 2 in the afternoon. Anything goes.
You're road fracking people to stay awake.
Yeah, it's all over the show. Couldn't be doing that now, but it's probably just now starting to take hold of world cricket. I think now, as I said, it's an extended version of the IPL, 2 months, and if they had their way, they'll be extending that even further if they can. So,
but they want 2 windows, don't they?
Yeah, I think they want 2 windows, and they're slowly starting to buy teams in the new Major League Cricket and the South African League and the Dubai League. It wouldn't surprise me if they try and buy some 100 teams.
Because it's an interesting, I've been thinking about this a bit lately, these other leagues that are around. Are they sort of going to have to be funded by IPL eventually or bankrolled a bit? Because obviously I don't know a single person, and I know a lot of cricket fans that really watch any of the other leagues. A lot of people will keep track of the IPL, and obviously their numbers in India and that are huge. But in terms of South African League and stuff, I don't know a single person that watches it. But they're giving out some big enough contracts. So I'm wondering if long term, how are they going to make money, some of these leagues?
Yeah, they'll just be trying to tap into the Indian market, won't they? Buy these teams, get some Indian either internationals or really good domestic players, and once you've got them there and you've got that Indian crowd, I think we just sort of don't quite realise how powerful sort of the Indian cricket dollar is in terms of just viewership. So I think that's probably their goal is, if they can even replicate some IPL numbers year round within India, that's fucking golden lottery ticket.
Well, India will watch cricket 365 if it's on, won't they, I guess?
Oh, yeah, 100%. And
I guess they're hoping on if you're a Mumbai fan,
you invest.
You'll follow. You're invested in the South African Mumbai League. You're invested in the Major League whatever team. Like you're invested in that franchise, and then like their socials can go all year round. And I think that's probably what they're trying to achieve.
Get some sort of aging Indian superstars on each side. Chuck Tony, etc. Make him the sort of front man of a side or two.
Yeah, 100%. Let's do some really early pick to win the whole thing, top 4. And if you're right, obviously we'll remind everyone about it. And if we're wrong, you'll never hear about it again.
Yeah,
it's the best thing about predictions. No one ever brings it up when they're wrong. Any teams tickle your fancy, lads?
Yeah, I mean, always hard to go past sort of your Chennais, your Mumbais. Like, your excellence speaks for itself. You'd probably be silly to look past either of those two at this point without having a real in-depth look at any squads. Those two obviously stick out, just sort of pedigree. And as you said, Chennai's ran by the man who New Zealand should be writing a blank chink to. So, one of those two probably have to be favourites to make it to the big dance at least.
I mean, the Titans are obviously defending champs, and they just looking at their squad again, it looks pretty deep again. Obviously, it kind of can be hard to go back to back in T20 leagues, but I'll definitely put up there. Every squad, I was looking across the board, like there's plenty of star power in every side, really, isn't there?
Oh yeah, I mean, hard to have a poor side in the IPL, you'd think.
I was just looking at the capitals here, like Naughty and Russian Pan opening up, and there's just I was just looking across the board. There's star quality in every team. I was just looking at Chennai. Chennai's still with Dhoni. Is Dhoni sort of? I mean, this could be absolute blast in the Indian cricket. Is he still offering a bit in the league, or?
I'm sure he'll play. Yeah.
Well, they did come second last year, and Mumbai were last, which is what I was really surprised because I was like Jacko, where I was like, Mumbai, Chennai, lock them in. They're like your San Antonio Spurs. They're well run at the top, and they're always thereabouts. Apart from last year, apparently. So I was thinking like, there's no way they'll be bad 2 years in a row.
Yeah, it feels like bounce back. Yeah,
Mumbai's side actually does look pretty solid though. One of the great players.
Yeah,
Tim David, I think, could be set for obviously, it depends.
Well, they didn't play him a lot last year.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Mumbai didn't play him a lot for the first half of the season, and they struggled. And then they won a few games towards the end when David played. So you'd expect him to play a lot more.
I was going to have we look at him for top run scorer actually quietly based on games last year.
A couple of other teams to go to the top 4. Obviously, Gujarat, like Lugsy said, I'll definitely have them around. But I was thinking King Virat.
I was just nestling on is he LeBron, is Virat to the Rule Challengers what LeBron is to the Cavs?
Minus the winning,
obviously pre-winning them that title,
because they got to the semis last year with Virat basically not performing at all, and I think he's back.
Yeah,
I think he's back. I'm actually thinking he's going to score the most runs in the tournament. I've got that.
I was going to lock him in, but I was going to have a wee bob on him.
Yeah, I was going to lock him in at some point. But in terms of who's going to win it, I think I'm going to go Gujarat as well. I think because they've added Kane Williamson, who obviously was statistically one of the worst players ever at the IPL last year. But I think he's...
Glad they got him.
Yeah, I just think he's in form, and he's too good of a player, too smart of a player to not have figured out what the problem was.
Yeah.
And then they've got like Shubman Gill's gone to another level. You got Hardik Pandya, you got David Miller, bowling attack of Rashid Khan. I think I'll take a flyer on Gujarat to win the whole thing.
A flyer on them, the defending champs.
Yeah. Jesus, don't. You people might put $6 on them, mate, if you're going on a flyer. Speaking of flyers and a bloke in form, just quietly, Quinton de Kock could be on for a massive IPL after the other night.
Well, he had a big IPL last year.
Yeah, good shout. He's a hell of a player. They were 100 after 5 overs.
That's actually crazy. That's you probably should have mentioned that, eh? They chased down 258 and 19 with 7 balls to spare.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy, eh?
De Kock, if he plays every game, because I'm guessing he'll open, like he is just one of the premier like ball strikers, sort of underrated, I reckon. So
he doesn't hit it hard. It's always like he's always like caressing the ball, if you know what I mean. Like there's a difference between like someone that brutally strikes the ball and someone that like sort of like caresses the ball.
Yeah.
So that's a good shout. I don't mind that.
Yeah. Even like someone like a Conway as well. I mean, his average is 50 for Chennai. If he's sort of given the keys to the top order, could be.
He's another one that didn't get much of a crack in the early stages last year, and then once he did play, obviously he showed his worth.
If we're just sort of going into the top run scorer, top wicket taker, it'd be pretty silly not to mention Joss Buttler. Top scored last year and got 400s in an IPL. I mean, that is ridiculous.
He's probably the best T20 bat in the world. It's probably him and Sky, probably.
I'll probably, for my top run scorer, I'm actually going to fly with the youngster Gill. I just think he didn't play as, I think, average wasn't as high as those top locker boys last year, but I think with, another year of cricket behind his belt, and he's done a fair bit since, I think he might explode here. Depending on how they use Mitch Marsh, I wouldn't mind just going him. I mean, he's an unbelievable touch. So it's hard to know sometimes with these sides how they're going to use a player and how much they're going to get. But if they just give him the keys to open, I'd take a flyer on Mitch Marsh.
Yeah, because he is whacking it at the moment, isn't he?
What about most wickets?
Yeah, we're going Anrik Nortje. Hitch the wagon.
It's not a bad shout.
I was actually just genuinely looking up his availability to see how much of the tournament he was there for. But yeah, I mean, we saw at the World Cup how good he can be and how quick he can bowl. So someone like him's always going to be a factor. And then probably hard to go past Rashid Khan as well. He is, I mean, he's a premier sort of T20 spinner in the world for a reason. So yeah, you could have a look at someone like him as well. Obviously, we're taking big flyers here, but yeah.
I had Rashid Khan, but the only thing with Rashid Khan is that teams have stopped trying to attack him. So, like, he doesn't take as many wickets. Like, his economy rate's always phenomenal, but guys don't really attack him because of he's such a threat. So, I'll go Rashid Khan. But
another sneaky option could be like a Trent Boult too. A guy that's basically given up the international game, so you know he's probably going to play every game for his franchise. And I mean, he's shown his class in a few leagues recently, as soon as he's moved full time into sort of franchise cricket. So, a guy of his sort of ability playing every game could be a serious contender as well.
I was actually on that sort of note, I was going to go Josh Hazlewood. So he got 20 wickets last year. I think wasn't the top of the top, but I think he only played like 12 or 13 games.
Struggling a little bit for injury.
The go-to guys are the guys you think are going to play the most games. You can get consistency across the board and play a majority of the games. You're the biggest shout. And some of those Indians openers, you're not going to go past there. That's what Trent's not a bad shout because he's always good for one or two.
I don't mind that. That's a good segue into the next part where I've got here who's going to be your most valuable black cap. So I've got here, this is the list of caps. We've got Kane Williamson at the Gujarat Titans. We've got Conway and Santner at Chennai. We've got Tim Southey at Kolkata. We've got Lockie Ferguson at Kolkata. Trent Boult at Rajasthan. Glenn Phillips at Sunrisers. And Finn Allen and Michael Bracewell at RCB. Boys, who are you picking to have the biggest tournament out of those guys? Yeah,
I mean, probably hard to look past a Conway or a Boult for me. I mean, Conway's just, I think we all see what he can do form-wise. Just a figure of consistency. I think he averages nearly 50 in all formats in international cricket. So just a matter of time before he explodes in the Indian market. And yeah, I think if we pick Boult to be top wicket taker, it'd be hard for him to be not the most valuable Kiwi if he's not if he is the top wicket taker. So yeah, that could be Boult or Conway for me probably.
Yeah, obviously a lot depends on how these guys, if they get a go early, because if you can get a go early and do a job, then you'll get more of a chance. It can be pretty cutthroat in the old IPL if you're not performing as an international though. The rope can be sometimes quite light. So I think I'll go. I mean, I think Trent's a great pick. he'll just consistently do a job for his side. But I might go on a wee flyer on someone like Santner. I think he's just developing really nicely, and he'll just be there or thereabouts. If we're talking like MVP points, then he'll probably get a few with the stick and always be handy enough with the ball. And then the other guy to watch, I think, is Phillips. I think his game's developing him pretty bloody well. He is so good for New Zealand, and I think if he gets a go early and does a job, it could be a massive IPL for him, sort of getting his name out there in that stage.
I had Phillips as well. I think we'll talk about the awards later on, but he's comfortably New Zealand's best T20 bat at this point, I think. In terms of like, he scores the runs and he scores them so quickly. And it's when I was looking at the squads, it's quite interesting that him and Harry Brook are in the same middle order.
Yeah, I did see that.
Which is pretty tasty if you're a Sunrisers fan. So I think Phillips is going to have a big tournament, I do think. The other two, I was thinking Santner as well, but then I was thinking he's always going to struggle to play when they've got Jadeja.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Jadeja's like the better version of Santner, and it's sort of they kind of do the same things, but Jadeja's just that much better.
If he doesn't get picked early, he might just barely not get a go.
Yeah, so I was thinking like Conway, I could see him getting a truckload of runs. I don't know how quick it's going to be. The other person I'm interested to see if he gets a game early is Michael Bracewell. It'll be interesting to see how much that 100 against India counts, and if he gets a game early, I think he could be very handy with ball and bat. But yeah, it's just going to be tough to see. Tough to see if he gets a go early.
I think the T20 game, suits him most, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, just brings his, like, in Test cricket, I think at this stage his bowling's probably not there to be, a frontline Test bowler. But when in an IPL situation, T20 situation, it's definitely handy enough at that for those for a 4-over spell and just doing a job. And then obviously his power just suits it down to the ground. So yeah, I think that is a great one to watch, Braces. Very interested to see how Harry Brook goes, actually.
Yeah, that's a great shout.
The big. It's actually, I was just thinking it, the big numbers in general, like the guys like him, the Cam Greens.
Yep.
Yeah, Cam Green, huge to see how Cam Green goes.
Yeah, how they deal with the big price tag. Because I remember like Kyle Jamieson went over there with a big price tag and he was pretty poor. And it goes downhill pretty quickly once you've got that big price tag on you. You're expected to form a hell of a lot more than you are if you're on a lower contract. So Harry Brook seems like one of the most confident people in the world, and he probably thinks he's underpaid. But I guess Cam Green will be quite interesting.
Yeah, who's Cam Green playing for?
He's at Mumbai.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so yeah. I don't know because we haven't really seen a lot of him in T20. So
yeah, and he's sort of done a bit of everything when he's played. Like he's opened a bit and then sort of done a bit of bitsy jobs. So yeah, could be very interesting.
There's actually a good crop of young talent. Actually, I chucked Tim David in the mix there. As you said, didn't play it as much at the start, but there's a big mix of young fellas that this is could be their coming out party for an IPL.
King Fennell.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something if he set the tournament alive with 100 on the, in one of the first couple of games?
Yeah, that would be unbelievable, really.
That wouldn't surprise me. Like if I woke up one morning and there was like a 32 ball Fennell 100, I could see that happening. And I could also see him getting 3 Goldens in a row like a Sky. He could be unbelievable. He could be awful. I don't know.
I don't know Fennell in the slightest, but if I'm going to judge a guy purely off Graham, which you should always do, this sort of environment, he is licking his lips to play in front of big crowds and prove himself against the best players.
Yeah, you almost be locking him in as top run scorer if you're just going off Graham's.
I'm willing to put a tenner on just to support him.
If he's having a net with Coley, do you reckon he asked him to give him 3 downs?
There wouldn't be many blokes that could, but Finn with that wee mullet and a sort of, he could do it.
Who's the real king?
That sets a tone if you him and do that though.
Yeah. We've heard those rumours of sort of trying to alpha him in the nets and sort of refusing to bowl with him with a red ball, and hasn't gone great. So yeah, hopefully Finn doesn't sort of go down that road.
Yeah, don't take a career advice from the Maximum Cricket Podcast.
Yeah.
Righto, boys. Let's move on to the New Zealand Cricket Awards, which were wrapped up this past week. The first time in a couple they actually had an awards night due to COVID, which is nice. Boys, what do you sort of make out of like awards nights in general? Like, are you for them?
Yeah, I think massive on them. I think it's a great time to, convene and get together. I think there's a lot of shift that goes into sort of playing a sport, especially like cricket, when you're sort of around everyone for a long time. So, yeah, good to get everyone there and have a do. I mean, we all love an event, so when you get to put your number ones on and maybe get a bit of silverware, there's nothing better.
Yeah, I'm absolutely massive on every part of it, really. I love the guy that's like got no cricket left. They're the guys I really envy. The guys that can really let their hair down for it. Just free piss, I'd imagine, all round. And, you got to be on your best behaviour, of course. Good chance to let your hair down. And also just a good time to mingle with all the other boys as well. A lot of the guys play a lot of cricket together now, but in more of a real social setting. And then, of course, the actual reason why you have these events, sort of recognising the guys that have worked really hard. So I'd imagine getting some of these awards actually means a lot to these guys. So absolutely massive on. And let's not forget the one sort of small part I'd love to know if anyone's hooking up. Massively love to know. If anyone's got any word on if anything's going down.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah. Righto, let's run through some of the winners. We'll start off domestically with the men's domestic player of the year, Dean Foxcroft from Otago, 631 runs at 45 in the Blanket Shield, 424 runs at 47 in the Super Smash. He's in the New Zealand A squad coming up. Anyone else you boys think could have got this award, or Foxcroft's had a pretty good year? Hearing
those stats, averaging 47 in a T20 comp, it's pretty hard to sort of go past that, really. What's nearly 700 in the Red Bull stuff. Tough to look past those sort of figures. So, yeah. Yeah.
I think obviously being down here, we keep our sort of most attention on the Otago games, and it felt like a few times he was sort of winning us games single-handedly there for a while. So he obviously stood out all season as a Volts fan. So yeah, can't go past him.
On to the internationals, the T20 Player of the Year, Glenn Phillips, 740 runs at 39 with a strike rate of almost 150. That one felt quite clear-cut.
I don't think there was a bowler that sort of stood up like above the rest, and to average that striking at 150 is phenomenal, really.
Yeah, maybe Santner. I didn't look at his stats, but I was just in terms of feel.
It is.
Potentially.
It is good when the numbers and sort of these awards get given and back up what you're actually seeing, because he just felt like our best player in that World Cup, and feels the most important to that batting lineup at the moment.
It's a bit of a theme, whereas it does these awards kind of feel like a changing of the guard, where it's not the usual suspects getting the awards.
Nah.
You've got the One Day Player of the Year, Michael Bracewell. I mean, what a year he's had. In 1 year, he's gone from like making his Blackcaps debut, getting a contract, made his debut in all three formats.
Going to the IPL, winning One Day Player of the Year. Like, it's an incredible year.
That's one of the great rock seasons you'll come across.
Yeah, right up there.
Yeah, that's Harry Brooks stuff. Another breakout year here, like Test Player of the Year, Tom Blundell, 849 runs at 60, 200 650s, 38 dismissals. There was a few other, obviously we've got the big awards, Sir Richard Hadley Medal, Daryl Mitchell, 913 test runs at 70, 400s. He's the 8th ranked bat in the world. I'm just, pretty happy that those two have been recognised. They've really sort of stepped up in a big, big way.
I think, we sort of joked a wee bit about like why we do these awards things, but that's really the number one, isn't it? Is giving these guys a chance to be recognised for like all the hard work they've. Mitchell especially getting that recognition, because he's been spectacular all year for us is really good to see.
You forget he was like 3 tons in a row against England in England. Like, he played well in England, but I'd forgotten that it was like like 100 every test.
Let me tell you, watching stuff. Sometimes if he wasn't there, it would have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
A lot worse.
It's crazy to think like he's another one that's had a crazy year because like we're talking like when was that test, like in June. He was only playing that first test because Henry Nicholls wasn't fit. A lot's changed since then. So that's pretty cool.
Did Toa get comeback player of the year, or they not give that out?
Crickets. No. I'm not falling for that. But righto, women's domestic player of the year, Kate Anderson from Canterbury, 536 runs at 59 in the Super Smash, 343 runs at 42 in the 50 over comp. It's a hell of a season. Women's one-day player of the year, Susie Bates, just another one. I haven't looked it up, but I imagine she's won a lot of those over the years.
Sort of pencil her in for an award most years.
It's probably adding that to quite a few at home, not just like there's not the only one on the mantelpiece, I don't think.
And the big winner for the women's game, Women's T20 Player of the Year, and the Debbie Hockley medal for the most valuable women's player, Melie Kerr, who our PYRANHA proposal is about today. Non-slip grip technology designed to minimise slipping in your shoe and maximise output. Designed and tested right here in New Zealand by professional athletes. The choice of sock for several Blackcaps and White Ferns, including Melie Kerr. And the number one women's bowler in the world, Sophie Eccleston. Performance, quality and style. I'll tell you who has all those qualities right now. It's Melie Kerr, who our PYRANHA proposal is centred around today. Grab yourself a pair of PYRANHA's latest range. Use the code TMC20 to get 20% off today. Melie Kerr, she's just won a women's IPL with the Mumbai Indians. Obviously, there's other people that won as well. But Kerr, she was not out 14 at the end, bowled 4 overs, took 2 for 18. She took 15 wickets, which was the second most in the comp. She took them at an average of 14 and an economy rate of 6.5. On top of that, she also averaged 37 with the bat. I wouldn't mind putting the theory that she's our best all-rounder to the test. I know it's tough because obviously girls don't play test cricket, but it's just interesting comparing stats of these famous all-rounders. Anything you boys want to touch on, Melie, before we...
Yeah, as you said, phenomenal year, and what a time to sort of for her to sort of obviously start playing her best cricket in that IPL final. And I mean, sky's the limit in terms of the women's game. She could go down as sort of our best ever if she carries on like this. So, yeah, sort of great to see on the world stage.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Susie Bates before, who I would imagine that most people consider, would she be our best or whatever? Obviously, there's a few of the names from that World Cup side, World Cup winning side that I sort of grew up on. Debbie Hockley that it's named after. But Susie Bates got to be one of our top players ever, and I genuinely think Melie Kerr will be our greatest cricketer ever when she retires. I just think the era she's came up with, perfect time to sort of start playing your career as it becomes more professional. She'll basically play her whole career now, like doing IPLs and doing circuits. So, yeah, I think in 10-15 years she'll be our greatest cricketer ever. Or women's cricketer ever.
I could see that happening. She's only 22. She averages 39 with the bat and 28 with the ball. And you'd fair to say she probably hasn't peaked yet, which is the crazy thing. So those numbers are going to get pretty outrageous. Let's compare against some great all-rounders. Let's start off with Jacob Oram. Okay, so bear in mind Melie Kerr, 39 with the bat, 28 with the ball. Jacob Oram, 36 with the bat, 33 with the ball. Melie Kerr by a long way.
Yeah, I mean, it's closer than you think. But
Jacob Oram's actually a lot better than I remember.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad figure for Oram.
I will ride a bit for Jacob Oram because I think he gets fucking harshly treated because he was injured so often. And I think, don't get me wrong, when you're in the mix of his career and you want him out there because you want New Zealand winning games and he's coming into bowl and it feels like he should be bowling 185k and he's bowling 130 and getting injured every second over, it does get a touch frustrating.
Keep her up.
But when I did hear him on a show just say how much it hurt him to basically be taken the piss out of for a few years because of how desperate he was to be on the field and to be playing and how much sort of time he put into rehab and stuff. I was like, I'm going to have to take a stand for Jake at some point because And I mean, he was at his best, a very good player. He played some very good innings with the bat. So even the fact that at 22 we're comparing Melie to him is pretty incredible. In terms of value to a team, I think you'd have to go Meals by a wee bit. But I do want to, stand up for Jake at some point.
Let's go up a notch to another underrated cricketer, Colin de Grandhomme.
Oh, yeah.
38 with the bat, 33 with the ball. Definitely a step up from Jacko Borum. Underrated with the bat, definitely underrated with the ball. I'm still taking Melie just because I think you can pick. You're picking Melie as a batter. You're picking her as a bowler. She makes the team either way. Although Colin's pretty good.
The toughest part is the Test cricket comparison, isn't it? Because you just sort of think there's that extra sort of format that you've got there. But yeah, if we look at them just as white ball players, I think that spin bowling all rounder just frees your selection up so much, which we've seen the Blackcaps sort of struggle with a little bit. If you can get your genuine spinner and your genuine batter in one, so yeah, just roll will tip it in Melie's favour there, I think.
Yeah, I think you summed it up the best by saying if you can make the team as both, like if she can't for some reason bowl and can still make it as a stick, like that's an all-rounder. I think that's a true all-rounder. So I think, in that regard, you can't go past her.
Okay, another true all-rounder, Chris Cairns.
Yeah, now we're talking.
34 with the bat, not as high as I thought, but 29 with the ball. But
could be a reason for that with the bat.
One of the best slow balls of all time as well, quietly.
I like how you said you thought it was more than that, and I think we look back on a few of those guys and think their average was higher is because they were all averaging like 30.
Jacob Borum averages more than Chris Cairns with the bat. I don't think I would believe that.
I think we were just in that time where, 30 was our norm. So anyone that was above that, we were like, shit, he must be up around 45, 50.
Yeah.
But no, they were all actually floating around 34.
This is
getting some real legendary.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's a tough one. I think. Melie Kerr's never fixed a game, so.
Christopher. Look, if there's one takeaway here.
Producer again, maybe just clip that out, I reckon.
Yeah, Chris Cairns is pretty good because he was one of our frontline bowlers and he was definitely one of our best six batters. I still think Melie Kerr is, in terms of a true all-rounder, I think she adds more value to her team than Chris Cairns.
Is this ending with Jack Cullis or what are we doing here?
No, we've got one more New Zealand all-rounder.
All right, who's that? Who's our last one?
Sir Richard Hadlee. 27 with the bat, 22 with the ball. See, Hadley's probably not...
He's just a bowler that could bat a bit, or...
But stats-wise, normally because he was such a good bowler...
Yeah.
He was his average with the bat is higher than with the ball, so technically he's like a true all-rounder, but like you said, he's not batting any higher than 8, 7 at a push. But he's just so bloody good with the ball. So that's a tough one.
You probably have to take our greatest seamer ever. Just tough on Meals, but unlucky.
I think
that's the line though. Probably says enough, I'd say.
The Women's IPL, boys, I won't lie, I didn't watch a lot of it because it's on in the middle of the night, but I checked a few scorecards, watched the odd highlights. What'd you make of it?
It's great that it's sort of coming to the forefront, and I like when the tournaments sort of don't run at the same time as the men's one. I like when they can sort of stand alone, because you do just sort of get to see that product as its own sport and watch it as its own game. It was like seeing the girls at the Commonwealth Games. It was really nice just to see them sort of stand alone and sort of have their moment. So and great to see some Kiwi girls up there playing really, really well.
Yeah, I know we didn't see a lot of it from this end, but you did a good job, Munter, keeping the Instagrams up with the Kiwi results. So just that and your crick infos. But I think what we're more talking about is what that's going to do for the women's game. That, and as you say, the com games, as you mentioned, they're huge things. Like, I think people underestimate how important it is for like young people to actually see like people on TV doing what they want to do, to make it an actual like idea in their head that it can happen. So the fact that like this next group of girls cricketers is going to grow up with IPL and stuff on the TV, even if they're just seeing highlights and stuff, the fact that it's actually even going to be on there is just going to breed a whole, next generation of actual. The women's game, I think, will improve drastically because of the stuff like this.
Should we get into the snack draft, boys?
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's recap last week. So, Jacko on the board, you got the win, you won the source draft, you have the floor.
Yeah. Good to be back. Just good to break the shackles for the year and get the first one on the belt. Yeah, and then this week we sort of alluded to sort of having sauce on toast as Crom has always been a fan of, because why not? But in light of that, we'll go the sort of sweeter option for your topping for toast, and we'll go with spreads. So we're talking your classic morning, what you normally have in your toast. We sort of all know what a spread is, so. Yeah, that's what we'll run this week.
So we're ruling out your aiolis, your barbecues, is that?
Yeah, beef vindaloo won't be on there. Not going to have any
Rogan Josh.
Not going to have a lamb korma.
Okay,
but a bit of controversy from the source draft last week. We
got the people talking though.
We did get people talking, which is what it's all about. We want people to discuss snacks. And
I've just got to go to my board and scrub off my top 4 picks. Okay, I'm ready to go.
Okay. Yeah. You just cut out every meal I've ever had, and then I'll start my spreads.
Yeah. So with the lottery, me and Lugsy were tied, so we're going to have a 40% chance each. Jacko, of the first pick, Jacko, you're going to have a 20% chance.
Seems fair.
Right, pressing that now. There's the wheel. What do we got here? Oh, you're fucking.
Yes.
How cool is that? Lugsy! Wow, that's a pincher. He's absolutely stolen that one.
Wow.
That was so close.
Margins.
That was so close to Jacko.
I was ready to hand the pick in.
Righto, for second pick.
Fuck.
Righto. That's me, Munter, going to take second pick.
I actually think we're going to end up getting one of the big dogs here, especially the way we're separating two of the bigger dogs.
Yeah. I think there's 3 big dogs in there.
I do too. It'd be funny if we don't agree on that, but I think there's 3 clear big dogs. One childish little big dog.
I think there's one absolute clear-cut big dog.
See, I don't think I'll be taking that, personally.
What are you running?
With the first pick, I mean, there was a bit of deliberation back and forth between me and the scouting team, but I think I answered my own question. The fact that I had a 2 kg pail of this and demoed it in the last couple of weeks, sort of spread where yes, it's amazing on toast, but absolutely I'll just spoon it every time I go past the pantry. So I'll say no more. I'm going peanut butter and I'm going super crunchy.
Yeah,
that's a tough one. I think that was my number 1 pick as well. To be fair.
Look, I have changed over the years between smooth. I admire a smooth. I'm still not afraid to go smooth, but
I think crunchy is way ahead.
Yeah, crunchy is so good.
Well, we've got smooth here for Harvey, and obviously crunchy, like extra crunchy for us. And sometimes if we're out of our like super crunchy, we'll chuck on the smooth, and it's like a different. It's like I'm chucking on a different spread altogether. It's nothing like it.
I still think it is exceptional though, and I think what a glow up peanut butter's had over the last 10 years.
Oh yeah, one of the all time just spreads. I think deserving number 1 pick.
Yeah, it's a good pick, and I think it's just getting better and better. Okay, so that was my number 1 pick. So I think, to be fair, like peanut butter has it all. It's got good flavour. It's reasonably healthy in a way.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go
reasonably healthy.
Yeah. But I'm going to go one that's really tasty and not healthy at all. And as a kid, this is number 1 by a long way. You can't have too much of it, but when you do, it is incredible. Well, I mean, depends how like disgusting you want to be. But I'm going Nutella.
Yeah, huge. Thought that would be 1, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I didn't really want the first pick because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. But happy to get it. That's this is just. I've not met anyone that doesn't like Nutella.
No.
It's one of those things. People decide at a certain age, like, I just can't have this in the house anymore because it's not good enough for me. But man, I'll say over New Year's, we were staying with the lady. She's got a couple of kids and had Nutella there, and I'd just get home after New Year's every night, boozed, and just smoked all the Nutella in the house. The poor kids have came back a week later and had no Nutella.
Oh shit!
Sensation.
That.
Wow, that's something.
That's great stuff. It's just this is tough because I'm going to have to zag, I think, because the other option, as we've already discussed, would be the smooth peanut butter, but I just personally don't think that stacks up. So I'm going to get, and this is sort of a mixture of both, so feel free to veto it, but the Fix and Fog dark chocolate peanut butter, is that enough of a...
It feels... Does
it feel a bit too same?
What do you reckon? I'm thinking flagging it, but what do you think, Lugsy?
I don't know. I feel like if we're separating them all, I'd almost say it's allowed. I feel like peanut butter's gone to a point where it's got so many flavours now. Like there's the jelly, the everything butter, the almond butter. I don't know. I honestly think it's probably okay, despite it probably going to hurt my pick.
Yeah, right. We'll give it to you. We'll give it to you.
All right.
So what is it?
Just like it's dark chocolate peanut butter, basically. And
dark chocolate.
If you've never tried that, that'll jar will be gone at real pace. And then this has just got to go for me, probably. And this is maybe another polarizing pick in terms of you're in one camp or the other. For me, I could have maybe 8 bits of this on White Death. Like you could just have this on repeat, and that's Marmite for me.
Fuck that's a good pick. It's
my favourite of the two. And if you've got if you got White Death in the house and you get started, geez, it's very, very tough to stop. Yeah,
I'll go on a limb and say it is way better than Vegemite. Vegemite is fucking disgusting compared to Marmite. Like I don't know what it's like. It's like Vegemite takes everything that's good about Marmite and turns it up to fucking 1,000, and it's just got too much flavour, and it's just it's like too much of a good thing. It's not enjoyable anymore. So that won't be my pick.
Yeah, it'd be tough to take it after saying all of that.
This is a tough one because you do spread it, and people do have it on toast.
I think you're about to take my pick.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to can we take avocado?
Oh, that's not my pick.
I mean, it's a vegetable.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Are we flagging it or not? Because it's you use it as a spread and you have it on toast.
Yeah, the problem here is I think this could win you the draft.
Yeah.
Because, Avo on toast is probably the staple of every hot 20-year-old girl out there.
Oh, so it's none of our listeners. Yeah, perfect.
It's not really a demographic, to be fair.
Go nuts, then.
It's valid.
So what are we saying? Is that?
Well, yeah, it is tough because I feel like we've probably overstepped last week with sort of what was allowed.
I'm happy to go in another direction if I may.
I feel like for the program, we probably need to stick to you've got to buy it in a jar of some sort.
Okay, all right. Okay, I will. Okay, I'll just go. I'll go with strawberry jam.
Yeah, big pick.
Just stock standard.
Yeah.
Can I just say I hugely encourage that pick because I think if we did a poll, what's the most all of the jams? I think raspberry would beat it, and I'm a huge campaigner of strawberry.
Yeah,
I think strawberry's much better.
Yeah, I just think it's just stock standard, isn't it? Like which one's the first jam? Like, is it raspberry or strawberry?
What do you mean? The first jam they ever made?
What's the original?
Oh, fuck, I don't know.
What kind of question is that?
Well, it's
what
just
was the first jam? Oh,
back in 1907 we were making jam. No.
We're supposed to know. We're supposed to know something about snacks.
Oh, I'm going to say like it probably took 100 years of jams before they started splitting them out. Like it was just probably a fruit jam.
All right, fair enough. Okay.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know if this is going to get vetoed since avocado did, but I feel like it shouldn't because it's one of the most popular spreads in the business.
Yeah, I think I know what
I
this is.
can't say I was massive on it early, but I've had a huge turnaround. Put it on a bagel, add a bit of something,
Yeah.
and I'm going cream cheese.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was thinking of picking it too.
Don't know.
I
It's
reckon
one of the most popular spreads out, and Jacko was going to go it.
because you can just dip your knife and spread it on, and it's like that's all you need to do. I think an avocado, you've got to peel it and get the core out, and yeah, I'd allow cream cheese just because I would have picked it. But
Appreciate that.
Oh, so I would have picked that. Eh? That's a dig.
were you going to veto that and then pick it on the way back round, Munter?
I'm going to pick it.
Yeah. For Crom's next pick, he's having avocado.
For my last pick, I mean, I'm not going to do it just to give my team some variation, but I'd 100% just go peanut butter smooth here. I think peanut butter smooth of the big brands, you fix fog, is still exceptional.
Yeah.
I won't do it though, just because apparently we all hate it now. So I will go a bit of a newcomer. I think this gives me great variation though, and that's what I'm after with this side, and that's the Biscoff spread.
Yeah.
I think just an incredible newcomer to the rotation, probably in your Hazella sort of like just a newcomer that's burst on the scenes. I know it's already a lot of people's favourite. Bit more pricey than most regular spreads, but
Yeah, $9.35 at Pack and Say. That's quite a lot.
yeah, that's getting up there.
Wow.
Yeah, getting up there. Not necessarily the most healthy, but who am I to talk health? Give me Biscoff.
See, another one I had here, which obviously it's not going to happen, but so I'll bring it up. Another one that's good on toast is tomato. Very good on toast.
You got bacon and eggs next door. All these things that are good on toast.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's good on toast. I'm not going to pick it. This is where we need video. really need video reaction. Jackson's almost got a concussion. He's fallen off his chair.
They released a new sort of tomatoes, have they? I missed the spreadable tomatoes at Newwood tonight.
Yeah, tomato sauce didn't make the sauce draft. It's on the spread draft. I'm going to go honey. I think it's a pretty safe bet. Does the job. Homemade honey is pretty good if you know someone that makes them.
What if you know bees?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't put them on toast.
You've got 100 bees outside, yeah.
Right, Jacko, what are you running?
Oh shit! I'm just going to have to go another one of my favourites, and it is sort of pitting against yours. And I will go raspberry jam. I think.
I like that.
I reckon for me, I think it is the superior sort of berry jam. My old man makes like sort of homemade raspberry jam, sort of fresh out of the pot is hard to beat. So yeah, could have gone sort of rogue there, but yeah, I'll just get raspberry jam to round out my team.
Your old man wouldn't happen to know which jam was first, would he?
Nah, we'll get him on the pod next week actually for a jam history with Greg.
That'll be one of our most listened podcasts. Oh shit! Yeah, no, it's a pretty good draft. I think looking at that, Lugsy's got a pretty good set there, eh?
Yeah, Lugsy's very nice actually.
Yeah.
You never know what the crowd wants, though, do you?
No, unfortunately not. Beautiful. Righto. So that is us for another week, team. Thanks again for joining us. If you enjoy what we do, give us a 5-star rating and a nice review on Apple ratings. If you really want to support us, check out our Patreon for early releases. Thank you to Piranha. Thank you to Lugsy and Jacko. And always, we will catch you next week.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, cheers.